Good morning, grade 7, and welcome to your comprehension class. We will be reviewing comprehension strategies today. The lesson objective for today is to identify and review the comprehension strategies and then to apply the comprehension strategies that you've reviewed to the text. Now, what are comprehension strategies? Reading comprehension strategies are a range of techniques which enable us to comprehend the meaning of what we read. They can include inferring meaning from context, summarizing or identifying key points, and developing some questioning strategies. So, on your screen now, you can see some comprehension strategies which can be used before reading, during reading, and after reading. Before reading, you should scan and try and predict from the title what the text might be about, activate your background knowledge, and ask questions. While reading, you try to make connections, you try to paraphrase, reread, visualize, and ask questions again. And after reading, you try to summarize what you've read, find out the main idea, try and identify the text structure, review the questions you've asked yourself before and during reading. If not, you can go back and double check the text. So, as we review the comprehension strategies, first up is making inference. You already know that inference is text clues plus background knowledge. So you use evidence from the text plus your background knowledge, which is also called schema, and then you draw a conclusion, which is inference. So I have a short video for you here, which I'll play. Once you've watched it, while you're watching it, I want you to think about what does the boy think when the car starts? How do you know? And what background information helps the viewer make the inference? I hope you liked the video. The second strategy is retelling and summarizing. So readers need to be able to recall specific details and retell them in the correct order. Now, the difference between summarizing and retelling. So a summary is more concise. It highlights only the major ideas and key points. But the similarity between them is in both retelling and summarizing, you include the beginning, middle, and end. You can see the picture here, wherein you have, for summarizing, you can use somebody wanted but so then, which makes it easier to summarize. The third commonly used strategy is determining the main idea. What is the main idea? Correct. Main idea is a single sentence that tells you what the text is all about. What you do is you sift out the unimportant details and save only the big idea. So, on your screen now, you can see some comprehension strategies which can be used before reading, during reading, and after reading. Before reading, you should scan and try and predict from the title what the text might be about, activate your background knowledge, and ask questions. While reading, you try to make connections, you try to paraphrase, reread, visualize, and ask questions again. Here is the answer. So the main idea of the passage is, of course, that Benjamin Franklin was an inventor and scientist. These are the various supporting details, as you can see. They might vary, like you might have a few others because it's like there are a lot of supporting details given in the paragraph. Moving, you have visualizing ideas. So visualization, as we did last week or the week before, is the movie playing in your mind while you read. So basically, readers have to imagine the details of the text in their head while they read. Try to create pictures in your mind when you're reading. Asking questions is another very important strategy that can help you with your comprehension. So how do you ask questions? So good readers ask questions to themselves before, during, and after reading in order to make sense of what they're reading. Some of the questions that you might ask would be, what do I think will happen next? Like a prediction question. How is the character changing? What is the office purpose? And the setting. Number 6 is making connections. So while reading, try to make connections, like, connect to your personal experiences, to the information from other texts or books or novels or whatever you've read, text to text, and finally text to the world. So I would like to give you an example here from the Maze Runner. Like, while reading the Maze Runner, you could probably have made a connection to yourself given the present situation. So, like, those guys were stuck in a maze, they couldn't go out, and you probably stuck at home now because of the virus. So on similar lines, yeah. Then is synthesizing ideas. So synthesizing basically happens when readers combine what they already know with the new information they've learned from reading. All right, so it's like baking a cake. Basically, when you combine a lot of ingredients and you get something totally new, right? You can see a picture of the cake here. So the first example for synthesizing is, like, if you look at the one of the fables, like the lion and the mouse. So at first, when you start reading it, you just think like it's about a lion who's going to probably eat the mouse because the mouse is so small and the lion is so big. But while you're reading, you realize that, oh, the mouse is really lucky that that the lion let him go. But eventually, when you finish reading the book, you realize that it is a story which is telling you the moral, which is like, it does not matter how big or small you are. Like, you can make a difference. Anyone can make a difference, and you should be kind no matter what your size is. So you started off by thinking something else, then as you're reading, you're thinking something, you're adding to your thoughts, and then finally you have a totally different perception here. Another example is from How to Train Your Dragon. If you watch the clip here, there's a link here, you would see that when Hiccup meets his mother, he knows a lot more about himself. He learns a lot more about himself, and he learns to appreciate himself more as a trainer, right? He already knew things about himself and about the dragons, but after meeting his mother, he knows a lot more, and his understanding of himself and his appreciation of himself as a trainer deepens significantly. So this was a review of the comprehension strategies, and so here on the screen now you could see some like small cards where you have the thinking stems for each of the strategy that we've discussed. I would want you to go over it. Which eventually brings us to our final task, which is to read the comprehension attached. It's called A Cabin in the Woods. Now, I want you to read the text and try to use the strategies that we've discussed, and I want you to list the strategies that you've used while you are answering the questions or while you're reading. And then you can submit your assignment on time. And we will discuss it then. Thank you.